so busy.
So, while installing the quick shifter here, I have done something to my bike. And I'm waking my neighbors up. Oh my gosh, I have no clue what's wrong, but it won't crank and it's so loud. Well, I was going to do a step-by-step tutorial here on the lovely Z900 and installing the AnniTori Pro Quick Shift. However, I had a lot of people come over last night for bike night, which was great. We had about 10, 12 bikes out here. We worked, we did, replaced chains, did a quick shifter install on an R6, a couple other things. It was a lot of fun. But, I didn't document or really change anything. But I ran into an issue here on the Z900, which I put off finishing until today. So what I'll do is I'll kind of go through, spend some time on how I'm running the AnniTori and setting it up on this bike, as well as trying to resolve this insane backfire. Anyways, the bike right now will not crank, which has me leaning towards it's an issue with the harness, or somebody, I don't know, misplugged the coil wire harness up, but anyways, it won't crank right now, and it's just letting out extremely loud backfires. And we found that out at like 12:30 in the morning yesterday, or earlier today, and I was afraid to wake my neighbors. Anyways, yeah, let's see what it's doing. So as you can see, we got the Z taken apart right now, and I'm installing the AnniTori quick shifter here. Got some Velcro. This seemed like the best logical place to put it. I got the Rapid bike here already, so that was a good flat surface. Put some Velcro. It's not going anywhere. Off the AnniTori, you got 3 wires. You got your your harness loom right here, and then you got your power and ground terminals coming off here. So here is my quick shift wire that is running off the AnniTori down here underneath the tank, and we're coming out down, ignore this one for now, we're coming out behind here, zipped through here, and here is the shift rod. I hope I'm right, but 55 millimeter shift rod, and then the AnniTori sensor here, and I've already got it leveled exactly how I want it. Per the instructions on the AnniTori site, and anybody that's running a quick shifter like this, you want some slack. You don't want to put any extra stress ever on any of these wiring pieces to the quick shifter or the harnesses, because you over tighten, you start to shift, and it's too tight, or over time it is a little tight, it starts to wear out and pull the connections loose, and then you're kind of just screwed. I went ahead and put my ground here. This other ground on the Z is for the Rapid bike, so I got both grounds there. And then actually for the Rapid bike, there's a wire harness here, and this is 12 volt supply harness, and so I'm going to tap into the 12 volt supply. AnniTori and a few other bikers that I know running this advise, you can, if you want, just run your power wire to the positive side of your battery. However, know that it's always going to be getting power, and signal may result in some battery drainage, etc. Also, issues have been experienced with turning the bike on and off, and the AnniTori not activating properly or turning on. So I'm going to run this into a power supply that actually comes on when the bike comes on. So to do all that work so far, all I've done is take off the side pieces here, which are all T4 bolts, so you can just take those off easy. This side of the bike, the same, just take off all the T4s. Then you have here 10 millimeter for your front of the gas tank. You have 2 sets of 10 millimeter. Your seat bracket has 2 10 mils. Pop those off, and then you have 2 back bolts here for the tank, which are also 10 mils. Those 4 bolts is what holds the tank on. You got to take the bracket off to get to these, so that's why that's removed. So once those 6 bolts are removed on the Z900, your tank comes straight off. Now to the fun part. I looked at this yesterday and figured out a great simple way. I had people holding the tank, which helps from having to fully remove it. Your air box on the Z is not too bad at all. To do it, you have 10 millimeter bolt, 10 millimeter bolt here, zip those off, and then, I don't know if you will be able to see, underneath the bike, here's your intake runners, and around each intake is a little, like a little aluminum ring, and then each one has a T3 little bolt there in the silver, you can see. So you got one there, and then the one for the inside to be down there, and then that is the same on the other side. You just loosen those up, and then the whole, I'm sorry if this camera work is crazy. You just loosen those up, and then the whole box comes off. The wire harness, as you know, is on the back here, so you'll want to be careful and not to put too much pressure on moving it fast. But you pop it off, you lift this up, and once you have that lifted up, there's our coils, and then you plug in that harness. For each coil, there's 2 connectors on the AnniTori harness. You unplug one, plug in the AnniTori part, and then from your factory harness, it plugs into the other. You want to make sure you keep each one in line so you don't get a misfire, which is what I'm thinking I'm doing. So I'm about to dig in there, go through that. Another one joined. All right, so I have taken off the harness. Done. And we'll come here and let's see. Just got off the phone with my awesome guys at Motomummy here in Austin. Issue, unfortunately, nobody caught it. Accidents happen, but for the AnniTori, you get a couple bags, and nobody caught it, but the ignition harness is Honda Suzuki, is what I got, and the harness I need is Yamaha Kawasaki. That is why she's not firing. It's probably not wired in the right firing order for the harness isn't. So, unfortunately, President's Day is going to take a couple days to get. All right, folks, shaved a little bit, but it's been a week. The bike was down, unfortunately, but I got the right wire harness for the AnniTori quick shift setup on the Z9. As earlier in the video, you'll see I had the wrong harness. However, a couple days later, President's Day slowed down shipping. Anywho, we got the right harness now from my friends at Motomummy here in Austin. So we're going to finish up this quick shift install and see how it goes. So one thing I like about the AnniTori setup is, should you run into issues with your quick shift, whether, you know, let's say it's the shaft here or the sensor, or maybe it's the AnniTori thing itself, whatever, you got this closed loop connection. And so I'm going to leave this behind a little plastic piece I have here, is where I'm going to make this connection. That way if I ever have to disconnect, I don't have to take the tank off, I don't have to take the air box loose or anything to disconnect the harness to the ignition. You got this little closed loop connector, and then of course just to do this and connect it into the main harness to the AnniTori quick shift, you're good to go. All right, so quick test, lesson learned from last time. I've got the ignition portion plugged in and ready to rock and roll. And I've got my little closed loop I just talked about plugged in here. Because main thing now is, since the previous harness, unfortunately, is for wrong bake, I need to see if the bike will crank. Holy crap, my tank is nasty. Anyways, let's cross our fingers. Success. All right. Now I will finish putting it all together. All right, so open the app for AnniTori. Click read. I was able to select QS Pro, which is this device. It was like a matter of like 2 seconds and it popped up when reading. If your power source is bad or anything of that nature, you'll find that it takes a while to try to connect. It's not going to find the device within the AnniTori app. So if it takes a while to pop up, no, you probably have a power source issue or something of that nature. Also, you may have to go into settings on your phone, depending, you know, if you're running Android or an iOS phone, something like that. I'm running an iPhone iOS, so popped up really fast, connected, got some settings from a friend of mine. The Z900 is push on your indicator rather than pull shifting. So we got a push, and we set a couple of settings from his recommendations. So I'm going to give it a test. So everything gets put back together after the quick shift install, got all the handprints and smudges off my tank. One thing I wanted to point out that I like is this trim piece here, and the way the shifter here installs is you're supposed to leave some slack. And here's the slack that I have, because of course when you move it and up, downshift, you don't want it too tight to damage the sensor or pull wires. But this, like with the slack I have and this, it hides it perfectly. Like you can't, like it's hard to tell that there's anything there. I still think I may change the color of this down the road, but anyways, now she's ready for the test ride.